Imagine a young boy sitting alone in his room, staring at a computer screen for hours. While other children were outside playing baseball, riding bicycles, or watching cartoons, this boy was fascinated by something completely different. He wanted to understand how computers worked. He wanted to create things that didn't exist before. That boy was Mark Zuckerberg. Today, billions of people know his name. His creation changed the way the world communicates. It changed friendships, businesses, politics, entertainment, and even entire societies. But long before Facebook became one of the most powerful companies in the world, Mark Zuckerberg was simply a curious child growing up in a quiet American town. This is where the story begins. Mark Elliott Zuckerberg was born on May 14, 1984, in White Plains, New York, United States. He was born into a well-educated family. His father, Edward Zuckerberg, was a dentist. His mother, Karen Zuckerberg, worked as a psychiatrist before focusing on raising the family. Mark was not the only child in the house. He had 3 sisters, Randy, Donna, and Ariel. Growing up, Mark was surrounded by intelligent people. Education was important in the Zuckerberg family. Learning new things was encouraged. Asking questions was encouraged. Nobody knew that one day this young boy would build a company worth hundreds of billions of dollars. The family later moved to Dobbs Ferry, a small town in New York. Life there was peaceful. Mark's childhood looked normal from the outside. But there was something unusual about him. He loved solving problems. He loved understanding systems. And he loved computers. In the late 1980s and early 1990s, personal computers were still relatively new. Most families used them for simple tasks. But Mark saw something more. He saw possibilities. When Mark was still very young, his father noticed his interest in technology. Instead of ignoring it, Edward Zuckerberg decided to support it. This decision wow! He wanted to know how software was created. He wanted to know how programs worked. Soon, he began learning programming. Programming is the language computers understand. Most people find it difficult. Mark found it exciting. He spent countless hours reading books, experimenting with code, and creating small projects. His father was so impressed that he hired a private computer tutor named David Newman to teach Mark advanced programming concepts. The tutor quickly realized something extraordinary. Mark was learning faster than expected. Sometimes the tutor himself struggled to stay ahead. That is how talented Mark was. By the time he was a teenager, he was already building software projects that many adults could not create. One of his earliest creations was a program called ZuckNet. The idea was simple but brilliant. Mark's father operated a dental clinic. The clinic was separate from the family's living area. Communication between different rooms could be inconvenient. So Mark created a messaging system. This software allowed computers in different parts of the building to communicate instantly. Think about that for a moment. Before Facebook. Before Instagram. Before WhatsApp. Before billions of users. A young Mark Zuckerberg was already building communication tools. Even then, he was interested in connecting people. Nobody realized it at the time, but the foundation of Facebook was already beginning to appear. As Mark grew older, his passion for technology continued increasing. He wasn't interested in becoming famous. He wasn't interested in becoming rich. He simply loved creating things. That passion became his greatest advantage. Many people chase money, Mark chased curiosity. And curiosity often leads to innovation. During middle school and high school, Mark continued developing software. He created games. He built tools. He experimented with different ideas. Each project taught him something new. Every success increased age. Around this time, Mark also became interested in many other subjects. He wasn't only focused on computers. He studied mathematics. He studied science. He learned languages. In fact, Mark became known for his academic abilities. He could understand complex concepts quickly. Teachers recognized his intelligence. Classmates noticed his abilities. But intelligence alone wasn't what made him special. Many intelligent people never achieve extraordinary success. What made Mark different was his willingness to act. He didn't just learn. He built. He didn't just dream. He created. That difference would eventually separate him from millions of others. As his skills improved, Mark began creating increasingly advanced software. One project involved music. At the time, music streaming services didn't exist like they do today. People listened to CDs, radio stations, and downloaded songs manually. Mark developed a music recommendation software called Synapse. The software could learn a user's listening preferences. Then it would predict which songs they might enjoy. Today, that sounds normal. But at the time, it was revolutionary. The software used concepts similar to artificial intelligence. Large technology companies noticed. Microsoft noticed. AOL noticed. They offered to buy Synapse. Reports suggested offers worth millions of dollars. Imagine being a teenager and receiving offers worth millions. Most people would accept immediately. Most families would encourage it. But Mark made a surprising decision. He said no that he rejected the offers. He rejected the opportunity to become a teenage millionaire. Why? Because money wasn't his primary goal. He wanted to continue learning. He wanted to continue building. He believed bigger opportunities were ahead. That decision revealed something important about his mindset. Mark was thinking long-term. Many people sacrifice the future for short-term rewards. Mark was willing to sacrifice short-term rewards for a larger vision. This mindset would become one of the key reasons behind Facebook's success. As high school continued, Mark attended Phillips Exeter Academy. This prestigious school was known for academic excellence. Many future leaders studied there. Mark fit perfectly into that environment. He excelled academically. He continued programming. He participated in fencing. He built friendships. And he continued preparing for the future. By now, one thing was clear. Mark Zuckerberg wasn't ordinary. Everyone around him could see it. Teachers saw it. Friends saw it. Family members saw it. But nobody could predict exactly how far he would go. After graduating from Phillips Exeter Academy, Mark faced an important decision. Where would he continue his education? The answer was obvious. Harvard University. Harvard is one of the most prestigious universities in the world. Many American presidents studied there. Many CEOs studied there. Many influential thinkers studied there. Getting accepted is difficult. But Mark earned his place. In 2002, he arrived at Harvard. This moment changed everything. At Harvard, Mark entered an environment filled with talented students. Everyone was smart. Everyone was ambitious. Everyone wanted to succeed. Competition was intense. But instead of feeling intimidated, Mark felt inspired. Harvard became the perfect laboratory for his ideas. He met people who would later help build Facebook. He gained access to resources. He encountered new challenges. Most importantly, he observed human behavior. This observation became incredibly important. Mark noticed something interesting. Students wanted to connect. Students wanted information. Students wanted to know more about each other. But existing tools were limited. The internet was growing rapidly. Yet social networking was still primitive. Platforms like MySpace existed. But there was room for something better. Something simpler. Something cleaner. Something more useful. Mark didn't know it yet. But he was standing at the edge of one of the biggest opportunities in internet history. During his early Harvard years, Mark became known as a talented programmer. Students often approached him for technical help. His reputation spread across campus. People respected his abilities. He worked on different projects. He experimented constantly. He explored new ideas. Some projects succeeded. Others failed. But every experience taught him something valuable. One lesson became especially important: the best products solve real problems. The best businesses solve real problems. And Harvard students had a real problem. They wanted a better way to connect. Mark was about to give it to them. But before Facebook could exist, another project would create controversy. A project called FaceMash. FaceMash allowed students to compare photos and vote on attractiveness. The website spread rapidly across campus. Traffic exploded. Students loved it. University administrators did not. Harvard eventually shut it down. The incident created problems for Mark. But it also revealed something important. He had the ability to build products that captured people's attention. He understood how quickly information could spread online. He understood the power of social interaction. Most importantly, he discovered that people loved engaging with digital communities. This realization planted the seed for something much bigger, much more powerful. Much more influential. The idea that would eventually become Facebook. A platform that would connect billions of people. A platform that would make Mark Zuckerberg one of the richest and most influential individuals in history. But at this moment, no. Mark Zuckerberg had already proven that he was one of the most talented programmers at Harvard. His FaceMash project had created controversy across campus, but it also taught him an important lesson. People loved connecting online. People were curious about each other. People wanted a digital identity. And most importantly, they wanted a place where they could interact with friends. Most students saw FaceMash as a fun website. Mark saw something much bigger. He saw the future. After the shutdown of FaceMash, Mark began thinking about a better idea. Instead of comparing students' photos, what if every student had their own profile? What if students could connect with classmates? What if they could share information, interests, and updates? At the time, Harvard had printed student directories known as Facebooks. These directories contained photos and information about students. The concept was simple. Mark wanted to bring the Facebook online. Night after night, while many students were attending parties or social events, Mark sat in his dorm room writing code. His computer screen glowed late into the night. Lines of code continued growing. The idea was becoming reality. Finally, on February 4, 2004, Mark Zuckerberg launched a website called The Facebook. At first, it was only available to Harvard students. Nobody expected what happened next. Within 24 hours, hundreds of students registered. Within weeks, thousands had joined. The platform spread through Harvard like wildfire. Students loved it. For the first time, they could easily see who was on campus, connect with friends, and create personal profiles online. The response was overwhelming. Soon students from other universities began asking for access. Stanford wanted it. Yale wanted it. Columbia wanted it. MIT wanted it. Demand kept growing. Mark realized something important. This wasn't just a school project anymore. This could become a real company. A very big company. As the website grew, Mark wasn't working alone. Several people helped during the early stages. Eduardo Saverin handled business matters and funding. Dustin Moskovitz helped with technical development. Chris Hughes assisted with communication and growth. Andrew McCullum contributed to design. Together they worked tirelessly. But success often attracts problems. And problems were coming. Not everyone believed Mark had created the idea independently. A group of Harvard students known as the Winklevoss twins and Divya Narendra accused Mark of stealing their idea. They claimed they had discussed a social networking project with him and that he used their concept to build Facebook. The accusations became a major legal battle. For years, lawsuits and headlines followed Mark and Facebook. The controversy eventually led to a settlement worth millions of dollars. Many people thought the lawsuits would destroy Facebook. They were wrong. Instead, Facebook continued growing faster than ever. Mark remained focused. He believed that building the future was more important than fighting critics. As user numbers exploded, another major decision approached. Should Mark stay in Harvard? Or should he leave college and focus entirely on Facebook? It was one of the most difficult choices of his life. Harvard represented security. A prestigious degree. A traditional path to success. Facebook represented uncertainty. Risk. Possibility. And an unknown future. Most parents would tell their children to finish college. Most students would choose safety. But Mark thought differently. He believed opportunities like Facebook came once in a lifetime. Eventually, he made the decision that he left Harvard. The choice shocked many people. Some thought he was making a huge mistake. Others thought he was crazy. After all, who leaves Harvard? Who walks away from one of them? The team lived and worked together. The environment was chaotic. People slept on couches. Pizza boxes filled rooms. Computers ran 24 hours a day. Everyone was focused on one thing. Growth. Every day brought new challenges. Servers crashed because too many people joined. New features needed development. Competitors appeared. Money was running low. But the team refused to quit. Mark worked relentlessly. Many days he barely slept. Many nights he stayed awake solving technical problems. His vision remained clear. Connect the world. Around this time, investors began noticing Facebook. One investor in particular saw something special. Peter Thiel, the PayPal co-founder, believed Facebook had enormous potential. He invested $500,000. For a young startup, it was a huge moment. The investment provided resources. Resources provided growth. Growth attracted more users. And more users attracted more investors. The cycle accelerated. Soon Facebook expanded beyond universities. High school students joined. Then businesses joined. Then ordinary people joined. The platform was no longer limited to students. It was becoming a global phenomenon. By 2005, the company dropped the word "the." The Facebook became simply Facebook. The name was cleaner, shorter, more memorable. And the growth continued. Millions of users arrived. Then tens of millions. Then hundreds of millions. The internet was changing. And Facebook was leading the transformation. As Facebook expanded, Mark faced another challenge. Large companies wanted to buy Facebook. One of the biggest offers came from Yahoo. Reports suggested an offer worth approximately $1 billion. Imagine being in your early 20s and receiving a $1 billion offer. Most people would accept immediately.